to the August 11th regular meeting of the Wappinger Town Board. May Town Clerk Paoloni please call the roll.
Councilman Beal.
Here.
Councilwoman Bettina. Councilman Phillips. Here. Councilman Casella.
Here.
Councilman Cavazzini.
Here. In just a moment, I will invite you to join us in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That will be followed by an invocation led by Dr. Pastor Lisa Pace from the Evangelical Lutheran Church, and that will be followed by a moment of silent meditation. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty Creator, we give you thanks for people who are willing to take on the duty of discussing and making decisions for the betterment of your world. We give you thanks for the people who come to these meetings. We ask for your presence here to guide discussions and decisions and policies in the way that you would love to see this world, showing justice and kindness and peace, and bringing communities together. We ask all of this, trusting in your everlasting love. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.
With that, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the minutes from July 14th, 2025?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Folks, we have one public hearing before us today, and that is on something that is personally very near and dear to me, something that we've been talking about and working on since we took office, and that is the amendments to the comprehensive plan and our town zoning code. With that, I would like to ask for a motion to open the public hearing on this topic.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Folks, we ask that you come to the podium. You have 3 minutes if you'd like to provide your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Petra Manel, 10 Dean Avenue in Houstonville. Thank you for taking on this duty. It's a big one, we know that. We live in Houstonville, and know that a lot of people who are here today live there as well. Until about 7 years ago, that village was really quaint, very quiet, which is why I moved there and very likely where others moved there as well. Now, around 2018, the town allowed trucks to drive on 9D, and of course, that's also on neighboring roads. In 2019, the town cleared zoning obstacles for this gas station project that everybody knows about. The residents have fought this project tooth and nail, well, as we all know, to no avail. After the pandemic, the traffic volumes, and with them the noise from souped-up cars and the trucks with loud air brakes, speeding, long wait times, they have gone through the roof. At peak traffic times, one can face a mile-long wait at the light between Old Hopewell and 9D. This, of course, causes people to take shortcuts through, neighboring roads like, our road, Dean Avenue. Tractor trailers and construction trucks are a very frequent sight, and they stop traffic as this road was built probably not for them. And talking with my neighbors, I feel that traffic is the top concern, aside from cost of living, for the residents of Houstonville. On March 10th, the consultant that the town invited gave a presentation, and he pointed to infrastructure as being, as not having kept up with the housing in Wappingers. In that same meeting, I stood here and I asked you about the concept plan in the 2010 comprehensive plan, which would raise some houses to make 9D a divided highway. You said that no, the concept plan would not be included in the 2025 comprehensive plan. Now that the comprehensive plan draft has been online for about a week, I skipped through it and I'm not seeing anything aside from zoning, which is, probably to prevent similar outcomes as the gas station project in other areas of the town, which is great, right? However, it does not address traffic and it also does not address the concept plan. So confusion at my end, and I hope you're going to address that. There's a few questions, right? How will the town address traffic, especially on 9D? What plans are there? Are there any ETAs? Will truck traffic on 9D get addressed? Will it get reduced? For example, Google rules for commercial traffic and the likes. Are there plans? I'm of course asking for ETAs as well because I work in an environment where you have a plan, you better come up with an ETA. How will speeding in off-traffic hours through our hamlet, so when there's not the mile-long wait, through the hamlet, adjacent roads, how will that get addressed? We noticed that on Friday, just a few days ago, a speed monitor was placed on Dean Avenue, which is great. Thank you. How will the town prevent cars and trucks from spilling onto adjacent roads, like Dean Avenue, causing wait times, causing erosion of driveways as they turn around? And I wrote something really small. The current weight limit is insufficient for Dean Avenue. Will the concept plan be a part of the 2025 comprehensive plan? So thank you. We appreciate your attention in all these things, all the questions that I posed, the traffic volumes, the trucks, the speeding, traffic spilling onto residential roads, the concept plan, basically our quality of living in Houstonville. And thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you, Mrs. Manel. If you would, I definitely can address a number of those comments, and actually you give us a perfect launching point to discuss why we're making these comprehensive plan updates. Everyone who has traveled in the town of Wappinger or lives in the town of Wappinger knows that there is a traffic issue, right? No one wants to sit on more traffic on 9D, no one wants to sit on more traffic on Route 9, and you hit the nail right on the head with it all comes down to infrastructure. All right, our roads cannot continue to handle this type of overdevelopment that has been happening here in this town and what could be happening down the pipeline. Effectively, what this 2025 comprehensive plan update looks at specifically, as we noted throughout the year, this is not an entire comprehensive plan update. That's why we're only looking at housing and infrastructure. That's it. Is to address the fact that 8,000 acres of land in the town of Wappinger could become multifamily through a series of loopholes that are in the existing zoning code and in the comprehensive plan as it stands today. These amendments would address that. This amendment protects our rural suburban quality of life that you just addressed by not allowing any more high density like that could just completely supersede single-family zoning effectively in the town of Wappinger. This carefully looks at the right properties, the right spaces in the town of Wappinger to develop and prevents some of the more reckless areas that could definitely contribute to more traffic on 9D and on Route 9. So effectively, again, this comprehensive plan update addresses two factors, housing and infrastructure. That is what we're addressing from our water and sewer. And again, from preventing such high density development that would, again, cause massive burdens on our schools, our volunteer fire companies, our ambulance, police. We don't have a police force in the town of Wappinger. So that all comes down to it, and our roads. Because quite frankly, the roads in the town of Wappinger are not fit to handle thousands of more units as it stands today. And that is the reality if this moratorium is lifted and these changes don't move forward, that is the reality. We were looking at thousands and thousands of multifamily units that were coming into this town. And our pause was crucial, as we've talked about on this dais many times and had our conversations with the public. It was crucial to taking the time, evaluating the planning of the town, and making sure that we don't have those issues moving forward. Now, again, you also noted the 2010 concept plan in Houstonville. Councilman Beal, I'm sure will jump in on this as well, that the town board has no plans to advocate for or fund a divided highway concept or eminent domain houses in the Houstonville hamlet. Again, that was considered a conceptual to create more of a village-like modern hamlet, and that is not something that this town board is looking to do, and it's not in these updates, as you noted, because we're not reaffirming that portion of the plan. We're reaffirming and updating housing and infrastructure for the needs of 2025 Wappinger.
So in 2010, I was actually here, and zoning and planning trends have changed significantly since then. Back in 2010, as that plan was being developed, village centers was a big thing, right? So they created these conceptual ideas of where village centers could be located. It wasn't just in the Houstonville area, it was also on Sergeant Palmatier, at that time it was known as Old Route 9, in the area of Evans Elementary School. There was also a village center concept created in that plan. So as we move into 2025 methodology and thought, we have determined there were several loopholes that were being taken advantage of with respect to what was known as non-traditional zoning back in 2010. So for example, there were some abilities to take a parcel within a residential single-family dwelling zone and through a number of mechanisms put a multifamily housing environment on that parcel, right? And just case in point, I live off Tuscany, right? So there's a parcel on Tuscany that they could have done that on, just like many of other areas in our town. That's not what the intent of our zoning was, right? The single-family R40, R80 zone was not intended to be facilitating multifamily housing. So why would we see that in 2024, 25? Because of the incentives that were being offered to developers to build multifamily housing. And we were seeing, I will say, creative approaches from developers that were going against the real flavor of our zoning. When we look through these changes, specifically, you'll see references to multifamily housing and what that means. There's actually a stipulation in here that specifically says multifamily development occurs only in zoning districts specifically defined and suited for this, RMF5, RMF3, right? So we're removing those loopholes or those mechanisms that exist in our current zoning because it is imperative that we close those loopholes to protect the integrity of the single-family home zoning. So when you talk about traffic, I agree with you, right? And we've met before. We're due to meet again. It's been a little crazy. We are using non-traditional approaches to mitigate traffic in different areas of the town, whether they be by weight limits, whether they be by close direct traffic monitoring. We don't have authority to do every single thing we want to do as a town. Towns have less authority on public roadways than villages and cities. The village of Wappingers Falls can put a weight limit on the state Route 9D for the purposes of the village. We don't have the same authorities to do that. We can't control what size commercial vehicles are driving on state roadways outside the boundaries of a village or a city. But again, as I've said in our meetings before, the only way that we can continue to address the challenges within your neighborhoods is to continue to have this open dialogue where we can think about, okay, is there a way we can create a traffic softening process or slowing cars down in a specific way, which we're doing on Dean Avenue and Old Troy right now, and Smithtown Road, right? So we're looking to do that on other roadways that we have the ability to do that on. But again, we only have purview over town-owned roadways. And many of the traffic problems are on the larger thoroughfares, whether they be the state road or the county roads. But again, it's not an excuse. We still have the ability to lobby our representatives for those particular roadways, and we do. It just becomes a challenge sometimes for us to have any specific authority over those roadways. Back to this comp plan revision, I'm wholeheartedly supporting this because this is the beginning, right? The beginning of taking our comprehensive plan and bringing it into 2025. It has to be done. There's other aspects of the plan that need to be addressed. Our thought was, let's get these housing aspects done first, and then we're going to dig into some of the other challenges that exist in the existing document. And you're certainly welcome to provide input through that process.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. You brought up a very good point, too, on the truck traffic. 100% right. This is a state route issue, but we had continued to advocate to state DOT representatives as well as our colleagues on the Dutchess County Transportation Council. The town of Wappinger is a permanent voting member of that council, and we advocated throughout last year to that council to retain planners that not only just did traffic counts, but actually searched the VIN number, the license plate of these vehicles, the registrations, and found out where they were going, the large trucks, and tried to figure out the traffic patterns, not just counting, we had 20 trucks today in the village of Wappingers Falls, but actually finding out, are they going to the quarry? Are they traveling across the river? And this data has been instrumental in coming up with new plans for timing of the new lights, timing of lights on Route 9, getting the village of Wappingers Falls to enforce weight limits in their section of 9D. These are all steps that we are taking behind the scenes. These are conversations that have been going on for a couple months now, and just trying to get our representatives to move forward. As the councilman noted, we advocate. Last year, this town board, we introduced several pieces of legislation to advocate to our county and state partners to lower speed limits, to create school zones in front of this building and in front of our high school. Still, 1 year later, we have not heard back. So, this is where we're at. We continue to advocate. When I was in the legislature, we have a number of improvement projects that we got funded, such as the old dumb light at Sergeant Palmetier Middlebush Road is now becoming a smart light with wider shoulders. I got that funded when I was in the legislature. Adding a traffic light next year at Spook Hill and Myers. The roundabout out by the airport. These are all things that took time, took advocacy. We got funding for it years ago when I was in the legislature, and now just starting to be implemented now. So we continue to work on that. As the councilman said, this is just the beginning. We are looking at grant funding for a complete comprehensive plan overhaul, as the state government is looking at another unfunded mandate of requiring municipalities to have an updated comp plan by 2030, I believe. So we're already ahead of the game. We're looking at real numbers. We're working with county real property to get real-time uses of property, and this is what we're doing. So I greatly appreciate the councilman's support. I hope that we have the full support here, and I hope that our residents will continue to support these quality of life pieces of legislation that will protect our town. Okay. Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Good evening. I noticed on the agenda there's
If we could just get your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry, Darylyn Brennan, 30 Carmel Heights. I noticed in the agenda there's a resolution for issuance of municipal bonds for $2.3 million. From my understanding, we have a significant rainy day fund, and I'm curious as to why we're issuing bonds for general infrastructure maintenance.
Are you citing the highway garage?
That's
or
the
are you citing
2.3 for highway.
the sewer?
2.3 million bonds to pay the cost of the reconstruction, resurfacing of various roads throughout the town.
So that's how we typically pay for our roads. So that's a 2-year program. It's $1 million for 2025, $1.3 million for 2026.
But my understanding is we have significant rainy day funds. Why would we issue bonds to pay for?
Because it's over a 30-year period, number one, and that's about every time we go ahead and we recycle when we do roads. Number two, you'll see later on in our agenda that we do have something for the highway garage. We are going to use some of our cash to take the balance down, the fund balance down, so you'll see it later on.
Yes, so
And what is the current rainy day fund balance? And
So again, that's broken across various funds, but I would say this is, it's the practice of the town of Wappinger when we're paving these roads, essentially you're bonding for the life of the asset.
okay,
So as the councilman noted, our roads typically have a 20 and 30-year lifespan. So the highway superintendent and I, or council members, will go out, we'll evaluate those roads. We keep very good records of that. That is why we continue to bond for the cost of road paving. As you have, seen from several town board meetings, we are appropriately investing the fund balance back into our parks, recreation facilities, but where it is more financially responsible to essentially bond for the cost, for the life of the asset, I should say, bond for the life of the asset, that's what we're doing. There has been many conversations, both in my office and on this dais, of the appropriate uses of bonding, the appropriate uses of fund balance, and we've been looking at every angle. You're going to see some resolutions tonight on the sewer districts. There was conversations, too, about doing interfund loans. Upon further analysis, that would not have worked for these smaller districts. As I noted in several State of the Town addresses, some of those districts were operating pretty lean in their fund balance, so that would not have been appropriate for us to do an interfund transfer. So we've been trying to be as creative as possible when it comes to funding these infrastructure projects, but essentially the short answer is we bond for the life of the asset.
fair enough, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brennan.
Hello, my name is Brad Mennel. I live at 10 Dean Avenue in Houstonville, the Hamlet. I want to thank the town board for engaging the consultant to provide recommendations for updating the 2010 comprehensive plan, including the zoning code changes. The town's consultant made it clear that while the town of Wappinger has plenty of effort in providing housing since 2010, the town's infrastructure is not kept up. And while I welcome these code changes to address overbuilding, I feel the town has missed an opportunity to address traffic congestion and create a walking center in the hamlet of Houstonville. Over the past decade, there have been longer and longer lines of commuter traffic backing up to Route 9D light in Houstonville each weekday. Around 2018, the town allowed a change which permits trucks and tractor trailers on 9D, which further exacerbates the traffic wait time. This change by the town has dramatically worsened my quality of life in the hamlet, with noise from large construction vehicles on 9D and longer commuting times. As an engineer and a construction professional, it's apparent to me that Route 9D is not designed to have tractor trailers. There are inadequate turning radiuses for tractor trailers to make turns at 9D and Hopewell intersections, as well as East Main in the village. I question that Route 9 meets DOT construction standards in construction for the load-bearing trucks. The town should lobby the state to prohibit tractor trailers and trucks on 9D, as the infrastructure doesn't support these vehicles. The comprehensive plan should be addressing traffic issues throughout Wappingers instead of just focusing in on the zoning code issues and the small coverage of the building code issues. I feel the town has missed an opportunity to address traffic codes and having a more comprehensive review of the comprehensive plan. I want to thank the town councilman for hearing my thoughts today.
Thank you, Mr. Mennel, and I do hope that my comments before on working with the County Transportation Council and the State DOT give you some insight into what we are doing. Again, the fact that the town of Wappinger, this comprehensive plan or our town code have absolutely nothing to do with how the state operates their roadways and what restrictions they place on them. We continue to advocate for these common sense quality of life issues, but that's essentially reaching out to DOT. So again, as we notify you today, that we are already working on trying to get truck traffic off of 9D and onto Route 9. These are all things I've been working on, not necessarily something that's legally even able to be placed in the town code. So that's why it's not in this process. And again, as we addressed before, this is addressing town-owned infrastructure. That's what we have a say over, and the housing across the town of Wappinger in the comp plan. So again, I appreciate your comments. I hope that that offers a little more insight into what's going on. And again, it's front of mind. The New York State, just to keep keep this in mind, designated Route 9D as part of the Hudson River Greenway, right? It's a greenway corridor. You would hope that our colleagues at the state level would assist us in imposing weight limits and quality of life, restrictions on their own road that they designated as a greenway corridor. That's the position of the town of Wappinger. And again, can't address everything in the past, but now moving forward, this is quality of life legislation. This is legislation that will help promote walkable downtowns and preserve that rural suburban way of life in the town. That's what we set out on. That is what this is accomplishing as a first step.
Great. We're seeing, some neighbors reports, over 50, maybe as many as 100 gravel trucks a day, stainless steel heavy trucks going down 90 with their loads.
And it would be appreciated if the Village of Wappinger Falls enforced their weight limit as well. Don't forget, they have a police department. As the councilman noted, they have their own enforcement abilities. That's where these trucks are coming in from. And as I've raised to the village and as we've raised to the state, a lot of things can stop right there. So, thank you very much. Does anyone else have any other public comment?
Just one comment. It was referenced twice that the town changed the law to allow tractor trailers to be on. What's that?
You had an opportunity in 2018. You didn't have to allow tractor trailers and trucks on 9D, right?
I don't know that that's accurate. I don't think we have any purview over any vehicles that are on 9D.
So the change came from the state and the town wasn't informed?
The state can just change the law.
I don't know that there was a change. I can tell you that, the super tankers that travel to deliver gas to gas stations are specifically traveling on 9D. That's their route, and they travel on 9D to Old Hopewell Road, which is less than an ideal turning radius. They have designated routes, and 9D is part of that, and that's determined by their regulatory entities. So I don't know that the town has had any input on tractor trailers being on 9D, but I'll certainly look into it, and we can talk offline. I agree that there are way too many commercial vehicles on a roadway that is certainly not meeting standards. There's shoulders are not present in some areas of that roadway, and it is certainly a state-owned roadway. But we can talk offline more. I think we'll need to add that to our agenda of our next meeting, because there are some state representatives that I think should be part of that conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Local trucks that have to go through.
No. We know which, we know. Yeah. And again, part of that study showed exactly where they were going. So we have all of that information as well.
Appreciate it.
But again, just to steer the conversation back to the intent of this legislation, just to give people just a reminder, we were looking at upwards of 3,000 units that were slated to come into this town taking advantage of loopholes. 3,000 multifamily units without addressing any infrastructure upgrades, accommodations to our schools, anything like that. And again, this is quality of life legislation. Looking forward to hopefully seeing it passed here tonight and moving forward on our Wappinger protection legislation. Is there any other comments in the public hearing? And I noticed before we allowed a comment on bonding in the public hearing, but it's okay. Hope no one bothered
fine.
me. All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Phillips. Motion by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor? Aye. Public hearing is now closed. The public portion of our meeting, which is on all agenda items. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak on any agenda items? Seeing none. Do I have a motion to close the public portion?
Move. Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Moving along to our consent resolutions. Resolution 2025-151, resolution adopting negative declaration in connection with the 2025 Town of Wappinger Comprehensive Plan Update and zoning amendments. Resolution 2025-152, resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Wappinger to adopt the 2025 Comprehensive Plan and zoning amendments. Resolution 2025-138, resolution authorizing the execution of the agreement for operation of carnival, rides, concessions, and amusements for the Town of Wappinger Fall Festival. Resolution 2025-139, resolution authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $2,300,000 bonds of the Town of Wappinger, Dutchess County, New York, to pay for the costs of the reconstruction and resurfacing of various town roads throughout and in said town. Resolution 2025-140, resolution accepting resignation of Town of Wappinger employee. Resolution 2025-141, resolution acknowledging promotion of employee to working supervisor in the Highway Department. Resolution 2025-142, resolution acknowledging promotion of employee to heavy motor equipment operator in the Highway Department. Resolution 2025-144, resolution to purchase park signage for Fowler House Park and Angel Brook Park. Resolution 2025-145, resolution appointing full-time maintenance worker in the Buildings and Grounds Department. Resolution 2025-147, resolution appointing seasonal laborer in the Buildings and Grounds Department. Resolution 2025-148, resolution acknowledging the termination of a Town of Wappinger employee. And Resolution 2025-153, correspondence log.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councilman Phillips,
Second it.
second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consent resolutions are adopted.
Just on 144 Fowler House, should be one word. I know the history,
You know the history.
but are we calling it Fowler House Park? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
After the history.
All right. I understand.
Thank you.
Because the road name is one word.
I know, the road name is one word.
Okay.
Yep,
That makes sense.
yep, rather than, because
I get
there's
it.
two road, yeah.
I get it.
I named it after the historical aspect.
If we can just make sure that the basketball hoop is acceptable. and
We'll check it. We'll check on the
acceptable
net.
Condition before we put a sign up.
I know that we repaved that a few years back. It's in good shape, but I'll follow up on the netting.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Moving along to our non-consent resolutions. Resolution 2025-118, resolution amending fee schedule for Town of Wappinger Parks and Recreation Facilities. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. As our residents know, the town board has been in deliberations on updating our fee schedule when it comes to our new facilities that we've been able to offer in Parks and Recreation, from Castle Point Park's new pavilion to Carnwath's Chapel to the brand-new live performance stage at Schlott House Park. We have been thoroughly looking at every option. We've been looking at comparable locations with caterers, specifically with Carnwath, and event planners, to make sure that we are on the same page with the rest of the region, and to ensure that we are offering our residents an affordable place to host events, as well as make sure that commercial enterprises and non-residents are paying their fair share to use our beautiful new facilities. I would like to turn it over to Councilman Casella. I believe that you have an amendment for this resolution.
Yeah, so let me just make a couple of comments first. Again, as the supervisor said, we did consult with a number of caterers to try to come up with something a little more reasonable than we had published previously. We took into account resident versus non-resident as well, so you're going to see that the rates are substantially different and lower for residents. We're going to continue to monitor it, so we're going to see how it works out. And again, as we get more information from caterers, et cetera, and we see how the turnout is for some of these events, we'll continue to look at the rates, again, as anybody else would do. And then any of the profits that we should make, I think what we're going to do is put that money back into Carnwater. So we're not taking any out-of-pocket expense from taxpayers. So again, reinvesting something into our projects that we're looking at. So we have a couple of things here for base fee, and there's, again, a resident versus a non-resident, kind of tedious, but I'm going to kind of read it anyway. So from a base fee update, and again, this is something that the clerk will publish, and again, our town board members have this on the dais today. So Castle Point Pavilion, non-resident, it's $175, resident, $125. So as you can see, there is a substantial discount for residents. Schlatt House non-stage under 500, it's $250 and $150. Schlatt House over 500 is $350 and $200. And for profits under 500, it's 500 and 300. So, and last one for that section is for profits over 500, 600 for non-resident, 400 for resident. Again, this will all be published, so you'll all be able to see this later on. And we're just kind of reading this off the dais. This is something we just recently agreed to. So again, we'll be very clear and open about the rates that we're using here.
And if I could just jump in, Councilman,
Sure.
when the councilman said over 500, under 500, he means capacity of people,
Capacity.
attendees to an event, a function. So just to put that in perspective.
Thank you. And then from our Carnwater Chapel base fee, daytimes meetings under 50 people during the week, it's $250 for non-resident, and it's $150 for residents. So again, a substantial discount for residents. Daytime meeting conference over 75 during the week, it's $200 for residents, $300 for non-residents. Again, this will all be published, so you don't have to write it down. Evening conference under 75, Monday through Thursday, it's $250 resident, $500 for non-resident. Evening meeting conference over 100 people, Monday through Thursday, again, $300 resident, $600 non-resident. Party events by 3 p.m. under 75, it's $300 and $600. Party events after 3 p.m., 75 people, it's $350 and $700. So basically, we could see it's half the cost for the residents. Event evenings where we were up pretty substantially, under 75 people, it's $1,500. For resident, $3,000 for room only. And again, if you take a look at over 75, it's $2,500 and $5,000. So again, if you looked at the original guidance that we gave, these are substantially reduced. Again, taking information we received from a number of caterers, working events ourselves, talking to Councilman Beal, who does this for a living. Again, this is a first stab at this. So again, it's subject to change, but right now, these are the rates that we want to try to publish. And again, town clerk has this. You'll all be able to see it out on the town website later after this meeting.
So, Councilman, I believe that's a motion. I will second your amendment.
Yeah, let me just jump in for a second.
Sure.
So on the discussion.
So the supervisor used the word deliberation. I don't know if it's been deliberation. We all agree that we need to have some price point here. I don't want to be in a position where we're pricing out residents that want to have a Sweet 16 or something at the chapel, right? Or a christening or something like that, right? So I do think that we're close. I will support this tonight. I'm not holding it up, but I think it needs to be somewhat fluid here as we move forward, because we're going to have situations occur where it's going to be too steep for somebody to pay $1,500 for a party on a weekend. It's just...
So just to put that in perspective, so we're still in discussion on this resolution. We continue every single week receive requests at my office as well as recreation.
I don't doubt that.
So that is why this is just moving this forward with a starting point.
Yep.
These fees are in effect for 2025. Come 2026, there's a brand new fee schedule that comes out like we do every year.
Yeah.
And again, at any point in time, we feel that this is going in a direction that we don't feel comfortable with, then we can always amend.
And I agree with Councilman Beal, this is very fluid, so again, this is a starting point. Again, we have an opportunity to update if we need to, so again, this is just to kind of move it forward so we can start doing rentals, but if we feel that things need to be altered,
We're going to have to
then we're going to
adjust.
do that.
We're going to have to adjust some of these, so just so the folks understand, this has been 3+ months of discussing this, doing research, trying to figure out what's fair. We're going to approve this tonight. However, if you have concerns with any of these price points, please talk to us so that we can drill down on whatever that one category is. I mean, I do have a little bit of a concern here. I don't want, if my neighbors want to have if my wife wants to have a party for my kids, right? It's not going to be feasible to pay $1,500 to rent it out for, a kid's party.
And again, just for the point of that, Councilman, we have discussed that that's not necessarily the intended use.
Right, again,
for
we have.
for that space.
Right, you're right. We have, there is a market out there willing to pay the prices that are here.
Yeah.
We just have to be cognizant that we're not pricing out our own town residents.
And that's
all.
why we, essentially,
Yeah.
today is a moving forward point for a resident versus non-resident fee
Right.
schedule. Again, from Schlott House to the other facilities at Carnwath, there will be more of an in-depth, fee schedule that will be created for these properties, because there will be other rooms and other facilities there
Yeah.
that might be more appropriate for a baby shower, for a Sweet 16.
Sure.
The chapel might be a little more appropriate for something else. So again, that has been the whole point of this. I don't mean to belabor the point, because as you noted, we've been talking about this for months. The idea is to get this started, start getting the property used, and as we continue to open up new facilities, we will continue to work together as a board to come up with new structures that are amenable.
And you're going to get these one-offs every so often, so again, you have to take those into account. So we look for input from residents, and again, we'll take that feedback forward. Again, if you have a Sweet 16 birthday, I agree $1,500 is probably a little too much, but because there's other places you can do it for $300, $400. So again, we have to take that all into account, but we wanted to have at least a starting point, a base, and then if there's changes that need to be made, or if there's exceptions to what we have here, then we'll do it. We'll make those changes.
Yep. All right, we have a motion second on the amended resolution. All in favor? Aye. Resolution is approved. Moving along to Resolution 2025-123, resolution awarding contract to complete Highway Department Facility Rehabilitation Project. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. Any discussion?
So the only point we want to make is, one of the residents brought this up before about bonding for the $2.3 million that we did for highway. What we're doing on this particular resolution, and you'll see it in the following, there's a couple of them here, we're paying 50% cash, 50% bond on this one. So just so people are aware, again, we're trying to, take down our fund balances a little bit, but, but also we're able to get good rates as well. So again, it's a 20-year bond. It's something that we need to do for the highway, and I wholly support this.
Seeing no further discussion on the resolution, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-146, resolution authorizing the reconstruction of the town highway garage at a maximum estimated cost of $1,578,000 in and for said town of Wappinger, Dutchess County, New York, and authorizing the issuance of $1,578,000 bonds of said town to pay the cost thereof. Do I have a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Phillips.
Second.
Second by Councilman Beal. For discussion, again, this is a sister resolution to the first one for the 50% bonding of that project. And as we've spoken about on this dais, last year we completed a substantial reconstruction project of the town of Wappinger Highway facility, which includes a new auto center, a safe, which is very, very important to note, building and break room for the folks that are employed by us up there. Before, the highway employees were sitting on couches that they grabbed out of the recycle center. They were
Sleeping in their trucks.
Sleeping in their trucks in the bays, and that was just inappropriate. So we took the initiative, employed a number of in-house resources as well to bring that project under budget. on time and get this to be a safe facility, which now has a certificate of occupancy for the first time in 40 years. This project addresses the final 3 bays of an old pole barn in the rear of that property, which houses millions of dollars worth of equipment.
Oh, a salt.
Yep, and we are also taking an additional step for preventative maintenance, which has been key in this town in bringing things in-house, and that is employing a brand-new wash bay, which will prolong the life of our town equipment for approximately another 10 years in some cases. We have an amazing group of mechanics at Highway and Buildings and Grounds who do a tremendous job keeping our fleet afloat and saving taxpayers a lot of money. This is just another example of us thinking outside the box and saving taxpayer resources. So if there is no further discussion on this resolution, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-147, resolution authorizing the issuance of $257,000 bonds of the town of Wappinger, Dutchess County, New York, to pay the cost of planning for improvements to the Wildwood Sewer District in and for said town. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. As we have been talking about throughout the course of this administration, we've been trying to think of outside-the-box ways to bring our sewer plants, these small package plants for neighborhoods, into the unfunded mandated requirements of New York State. We have seen everything from the prior administration of $10 million for reconstruction of these projects, which is just not feasible to place onto these small districts, some of which have 150 people. The idea behind this is, again, we are employing our professionals to do in-depth research planning to come up with these outside-the-box engineered plans, which are going to substantially save us a lot of money in the long run. These 3 bonds that you see here today are all associated with one another, but are for their respective districts. Essentially, our town engineers has been holding up charging these respective districts for the planning and the engineering work, because these are costs that cannot be encumbered by the entire town. These are costs that are associated with a specific district. So by moving forward with planning costs here, we're able to move forward. We're eligible for additional grant funding, and again, shows the state of New York that we continue to move forward on our timeline and our commitment to improving these plans.
So we, just a quick comment on this one. So again, the Wildwood, which affects, again, Wildwoods, it's also Split Tree, Quarry, et cetera, $257,000. This is the first step on this one, but we do have a solution now that we've come up with, that our engineering team has come up with. It's going to be less than $1 million, which is what the supervisor was talking about before. The original cost was around $6 million, so a significant savings based on Podgy Engineering and Mike Tremper from Camo Pollution coming up with a solution. But there's 250 residents, so it's very few people that will bear the cost of this. If you look at Resolution 149, which you're also talking about, which is for Midpoint, which is where I actually live, again, it's a small packing plant. It's 155 residents in it. Again, this is first step, $257,000 to get the engineering work done. Again, it's going to probably come in less than $1 million, which is phenomenal. We looked at this originally, it was going to be a $10 million project. So pretty significant to 155 residents. So great job by the engineering team. So just wanted to kind of make comments on those two, because those are ones that affect my district.
Thank you very much, Councilman. And again, as we noted during the public comment period, we looked at innovative approaches in terms of financing these. We have in the past done interfund loans, and that works for some of the larger water and sewer districts. But for the smaller ones, as we noted in the State of the Town address, they were running dangerously low based on past practices of prior comptrollers. So what we've been able to do now is effectively bring these districts into responsible financial security, and we're moving forward with the responsible capital improvements to bring these into the state requirements. So with that, do I have a motion to adopt the first of these resolutions, Resolution 2025-143?
I'll make the motion. Approve.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2025-149, a resolution authorizing the issuance of $257,000 bonds for the town of Wappinger, Dutchess County, New York, to pay the cost of planning for improvements to the Midpoint Park Sewer District in and for said town. Do I have a motion? Moved by Councilman Phillips.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Casella. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-150, resolution authorizing the issuance of $43,000 bonds for the town of Wappinger, Dutchess County, New York, to pay for the cost of planning for improvements to the Fleetwood Sewer District in and for said town. Motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Beal.
Second.
Second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. These have been very wordy resolutions, folks, so if I've been tripping up, I apologize, but very wordy. Okay, folks, that concludes our non-consent portion of our agenda. Moving along to items for special consideration and new business. As anyone who's driving around the town of Wappinger knows, we have a lot of very exciting things going on in town. From parks and recreation improvements, infrastructure improvements, new businesses coming in. This is truly a beautiful 150th anniversary year for our town. I would like to note something that we are very proud of. Our Town of Wappinger Little League girls softball team are New York State champions. They won at Smithtown, Long Island, so we are very proud of these young ladies, and we will be officially recognizing them for their accomplishments in the coming weeks, but truly something that we are so proud of. They continue to make us proud each and every day, all of our young athletes in our town. Also, over the weekend, we had the great honor to be the worldwide kickoff for the Spirit of 45 recognition event, and that recognizes the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. That happened right in the village of Wappingers Falls. Something that we are tremendously proud of as a historian, something that we know is that the village of Wappingers Falls contributed more men and women to serve in World War II than any other municipality per capita in the United States of America, and it was very fitting to bring the ceremony home, have 2 World War II vets with us, one, Al Hubner, who we recognize as Grand Marshal this year. Just truly a beautiful event with a World War II plane flyover. That plane is stationed here in our town at Hudson Valley Regional Airport. Truly a beautiful thing, and a huge shout out to the volunteers over at the VFW post in our town. As we move along, we have very exciting infrastructure projects going on. Councilman Phillips and I have worked very closely on the Chelsea boat ramp, which is now completed, something that has been talked about for many decades in this town. That was patched and filled in for many years, is now a beautiful concrete ramp that looks wide enough it could fit 3 boats on it. It's something that we're very proud of. Boaters and folks that love access to our waterfront are very excited about it. In the coming weeks, we're going to see a brand new dock that was, again, thanks to the town board, my colleagues here for approving that. Will be going in the water soon, and that will have a new ADA kayak launch as well. So we continue to revitalize our waterfront. We worked with our friends at the Chelsea Yacht Club to, they rebuilt their wall there, and we're working with them on maybe some future partnerships in terms of parking down on the Chelsea waterfront, but that is truly something that is very exciting for our town, again, encouraging water access. And in the first ward, Councilman Beal, Town Clerk Paoloni, and we worked on these kayak launches. And I thank Town Clerk Paoloni for doing a lot of the legwork and finding what other municipalities down south do and tracking down some of these companies. Because we as a town board, we adopted the funding for putting in the new kayak launch at the lower Wappinger Creek in the village of Wappingers Falls. So we're not only improving recreation in the town, we're helping the village residents of our town down on the lower Wappinger Creek, and that will really bring together that whole Reese Park Nature Preserve, which we're putting a lot of time into. So that's a very exciting addition to our town. For those who live in the Fleetwood neighborhood, you are getting a brand-new playground, finally now moved out of the sewage treatment plant that we talked about here today. That is where the current park sits. We're moving it to a new lot in town, so folks have seen the playground structure be finished. Now we're doing some site work, so it's not yet open to the public. We'll be having a ribbon cutting there soon, but that's a very exciting thing. Schlothouse Park, anyone who's driven by Brexel Schlothouse Park has seen that facility really transform into a central park. That's where we host our community day, obviously, and our summer concert series, but our new live performance stage, which Councilman Casella and Councilman Beal joined me this past Thursday for the summer concert series. People are very excited for dance floor and all sorts of improvements there, but also seeing the new Walk of Heroes come to fruition, which is going to highlight 50 of our town's prominent veterans and service heroes around the town of Wappinger War Memorial. That's coming together, but of course, Mother Nature has not been too kind to us this year, so obviously every time we stick a shovel in the ground, water comes out, so we've been addressing the drainage out there, and that park is really coming together to be a beautiful central facility for our town, and we are so excited to offer that. Along the lines of improvements, we're proud to say that we continue to be very aggressive when it comes to grant funding. We've employed the resources of the LaBerge Group as well as our own office staff to get grants, and many of which we get in-house. We're proud to announce that we received a $75,000 municipal innovation grant from Dutchess County, which will completely renovate our senior center with new floors, a brand new larger kitchen. Franca, you're excited about that. A new bathroom. I mean, this is something that our seniors are absolutely going to love, and something that we're going to be moving forward with at the end of the year. This comes in concert with the other grant that we got last year to renovate the facility out at Brexel Schlothouse Park. Again, creating a scattered site program for our senior enrichment division, which is offering senior-oriented programming for all abilities in our park system and here in Wappinger Town Hall. So we are very, very proud of that. Along the lines of continued improvements, many folks have seen the Tyler Adams soccer pitch out at the Martz Field Recreation Facility is dedicated now. We hosted Tyler Adams, the United States soccer captain, and 250 Wappinger children for a beautiful day of summer recreation activities. Thanks to Tyler's perseverance and persuasion, Scott's Miracle-Gro is donating at no cost to town taxpayers a brand new sod soccer pitch at Martz Field, which is going to be absolutely beautiful, no cost to taxpayers. I had a meeting today with the folks from Scott's, and we are so excited to get started this September on that project. And I'd like to acknowledge, too, going along the lines of recognition, one of our good friends here on this dais, and that's Craig Bova, who was our highway working supervisor. We acknowledged his retirement here today in one of these resolutions. He retires from the town of Wappinger with over 30 years of service to this town. And as everyone on this dais knows, when you called Craig, called the highway department, he was out there in a matter of minutes addressing what we needed. So a huge shout out to Mr. Bova for his 30-plus years of service to this town. And I'd also like to acknowledge, we had a number of summer interns here in Town Hall that were unpaid, and we appreciate them for their diligent service. Our interns are not just making copies and doing things like that. They are in the financial software. They are working right alongside of our staff, working on programming. They're getting real-world hands-on experience, and I'd like to thank MJ, Emma, Cameron, and Julia for their tremendous work as our summer interns here at Town Hall. And I will close things out. I know I just hit everyone with a lot of information, and it's been a longer meeting than usual. But Tomorrow, Councilman Beal and I will be hosting a dedication ceremony for the Colonial Albany Post Road marker on Route 9. That's tomorrow at 5 o'clock at 1315 Route 9. That's the old Hark Plaza on Route 9. We employed the services and dedication of an Eagle Scout, Evan, who has been absolutely tremendous to work with. He restored this colonial era marker that was placed there by Benjamin Franklin along the original Albany Post Road to its former glory with its original bluestone roof, and repointed the bricks, did a beautiful job, added a historical plaque there, noting its significance, and I hope that everyone joins us tomorrow, Tuesday, at 5 o'clock out in front of Hark Plaza. We are looking forward to that. So, as everyone knows, there is so much going on in town. We only have one meeting this month in August, so we had a lot of things that we had to get through tonight, as well as a lot of updates to provide you. So I hope to see you around town and enjoy the improvements being done by your town government. Turning it over to the First Ward, I'll turn it over to Councilman Beal.
So as Joey knows, I have a slight obsession with these Albany Post Road mile markers. I'm a map guy, and Joey knows this. We have original maps of these where they're supposed to be, right? Because they were moved, many of them, when Route 9 was put in. But this is actually the second restoration by an Eagle Scout candidate. The first one was in the town of Fishkill on top of Osborne Hill. You may be familiar with that one in front of the Jewish cemetery. That used to be the Post Road, Osborne Hill Road. That was the Post Road. So there's one there that was unprotected. Somehow it missed, it never was bricked in like the others. So because it was so eroded, they couldn't really build the little house like you see on the new one. They built kind of like a shelter around it. So that was also by an Eagle Scout candidate. And the one on Route 9 just looks absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see it up close tomorrow. And preserving our history is something that we take very seriously in this town. We know that there's a missing, unaccounted for one somewhere on Sergeant Palmatier.
Yes.
Somewhere in the vicinity of our Middlebush Cemetery, there's supposed to be one.
That's correct.
But Joey and I have been in the woods looking for that. It probably either got knocked down by a plow or something over the years, or it was stolen. We don't know. But the point is, we've actually gone out and looked for these things, and any one that we find, we're going to preserve. So great job to the Eagle Scout candidate from Troop 145. Which, by the way, Troop 145 is the chartered Boy Scout troop at the Houstonville Fire Department, which I'm the charter organizational rep for, generated. I think it's got to be close to 20 Eagle Scouts at this point since 2018, which is, I'm an Eagle Scout, which is absolutely, and so is our attorney here. It's really impressive. It really is a testament to the leadership of that boy-led troop. So, speaking of the Houstonville Fire Department, it is currently the base camp of the latest production that is being filmed here in the Hudson Valley.
Yes.
New Hamburg Yacht Club is really the centerpiece of this film, or
It's a TV show.
TV show that's being produced. The base camp is at the fire department, and it's a pretty large operation. I mean, there's like over 100 cars a day parking on the field for the crew. You may notice the limousine-style vans that are coming in and out, moving the talent from the base camp, which has catering and makeup and prep and all that, down to the set. Pretty exciting. So if you see a lot of movement on the firehouse grounds, that's what's happening. It is the base camp, which is going to be happening for a period of 4 to 5 months. And we appreciate the partnership with the Fox Productions. That said, we talked back a year and a half ago about our goals collectively as a board to create tangible outcomes in this town, things that you can touch and feel. And I've been here for the longest, and certainly there's no doubt that what has come together with the synergy on this board has really resulted in more tangible outcomes than I've ever seen. That stage, I can't say enough good things about that stage. It's more than just a structure. and this board to be completely transparent. We didn't agree on everything through that process, but that makes us healthy. We often don't agree on everything, which is what makes a healthy board. But at the end of the day, we have a game changer out there. Thursday night, I was out there again. I tried to bring my kids, but they go to sleep at 8 o'clock. That just doesn't work for the second set. But
Maybe we'll get them out for the movie
my
night.
wife wouldn't allow me to
movie
take
night
the
series.
kids. But the energy out there and the positive vibe, right? And, those of you may know on my weekends are consumed with entertaining crowds of all sizes, and that is just such a good vibe, such good energy. We're talking about now that the drainage has been addressed, how to create that welcoming dance floor, which will happen. We believe we have funding left over in the overall budget to make that happen. That's really the icing on the cake, people dancing in front of that stage. They are right now. It's just kind of tough because you're dancing on
Grass.
You're dancing on grass and like slate and rocks and stuff, so it's not ideal. But the point is, we want to bring people together. COVID pushed us apart. This funding is COVID funding. We're bringing people together. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. We're all there as a community. That's at the end of the day, that's what that's about. Bringing everyone together. We live such a polarized society here. I got to shut it off myself, right? I can't even watch the news. I'm sure many of you can't either. It's just too polarizing. So what can we do as a local community? Bring people together. That's how you do it, right there. And our other discussion about bringing people into our other venues, right? That's been passionate too, right? We want to be able to bring people together affordably and be able to celebrate with their families at our locations. So that's really what we're trying to do here as a group, and I believe we are succeeding. On a solemn note, we're approaching September 11th again, the 24th anniversary, if you can believe that. 3 more victims were identified last week. It's still in the front of our minds. And this town every year pauses at 8:30 a.m. in real time for a brief ceremony to reflect upon that moment. So I hope you'll join us if you can. It's a weekday. I understand people have to work, but if you can. It's a Thursday this year, September 11th at Sergeant Palmatier Memorial Park, located at 9 and Old Hopewell. The Town of Wappingers First Responder Awards will continue this year. It's the 9th annual. We took a year off for COVID, but it's the 9th annual. Would have been the 10th, but it's going to be on the following Sunday, just like it always is. This year it's September 14th at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall, where we recognize our fire, police, EMS, call takers, and dispatchers who have made a difference in our town, and that will be occurring at 6 p.m. If you're available. That's open to the public. It'll also be broadcast on our channel. The kayak dock that the supervisor mentioned is another game changer. And if you remember the boathouse discussions we had a number of, I don't know how many supervisors ago that was, I lost track, but I was here. But the idea was, let's come together with the Village of Wappingers Falls to work with them to create an environment down there that not only has a beautiful historic boathouse, but also has some extracurricular activity access adjacent to the boathouse.
Yep.
That is what that kayak dock is. Shout out to Joe Paoloni, because that was kind of your vision to get that particular dock. We're still working it out, right? Low tide can be a challenge down there. We're still working it out. Yeah. So it's it goes up and down. It's
a tidal estuary. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it went a little further down than I thought, actually. Yeah. There's a lot of vegetation. We understand that. This is a first step, right? We got to get the thing in the water. We'll figure it out, right? We're going to work with the village to do that. Initially, the boat ramp was a little obstructed. That's been corrected. But as Joey and I were hiking through the woods the other day, we found the old Reese Park boat ramp, which I think it's been 50 years since that thing was active, right? We think that next year that might be a realistic objective to try to open that up again so that there's a couple options for putting different types of vessels in there. And most importantly, from a public safety standpoint, we have Zodiacs, which are inflatable rescue boats that we need access points for. 2 access points there would be good because of the amount of up and down on that waterway, right? The Chelsea boat ramp, That's another big accomplishment. And yes, for recreation, but for public safety. That boat ramp directly into the river allows not only for inflatable Zodiacs, but larger vessels on trailers that need to get out there for emergencies, they can use that ramp. So these are significant accomplishments. Shout out to Greg Bova. Craig, thank you for your 30 years of service to our town. The Highway Department personnel often go, I'm not going to say overlooked, but not thanked enough, right? They're out there 24/7 when everybody else is not, and Craig has done it more than most. So we thank Craig for his service, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Phillips.
You guys said it all. So I have to thank Craig Bova. His service to this town is second to none. He was always there, and you would mention it, and turn around, it was done.
Within minutes.
Yes. So Craig, thank you. Thank you so much for your service to this town. Everything you guys said it's amazing what we're doing, but to the town employees who are actually doing it, we get the credit because we sit here, but they're all making it happen. So to all our employees, thank you so much. This town's a better place for your service.
Amen.
So that's what I got.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Casella.
Thanks. So yeah, just a couple of quick shout outs. So again, to the girls softball team, that's the New York State champions. They went to the regionals and they lost to the eventual winner to Pennsylvania, which was Pennsylvania, 1-0. They won the whole regional tournament. So again, a congratulations and a shout out to them. This past weekend over at Robinson Lane, we had the Little League tournament. It's actually teams from Bristol, Connecticut. There were 52 games played, 52, 25 on Saturday, 27 on Sunday. And I want to give a shout out to the guys that did a great job. So Jeff Tomlins, Mike Kotash, Keith, Gary, Chelsea, the outstanding job, getting the fields prepped. We have Pete, Bob, Tina, Mary working the grills, outstanding job. Billings and Grounds, phenomenal job. Rich, Jay, Brendan, everything went so smooth. They were so impressed that everything went as well as it did, especially after the first time we had the big rain out. So this one here went smooth. They want to do it again. Looking forward to signing a contract already, which is great news for us. So it's good. Concerts. So we were out there. Joey, Bill, and I were out there. We saw the crew. Great band. We have 2 more weeks left of concerts out there. So again, something to look forward to. I also want to thank a lot of thank yous tonight. Thank you to the Highway Department. They took care of an issue for me on Spring Hill Court. So great job there. They also fixed, our buildings and grounds teams also fixed finally the gate at the pickleball courts that they couldn't open up the courts. So again, great job with that. Excellent job from Buildings and Ground again for the park drainage over at Slide House Park, because that was a mess. They had to redo it 3 times. So again, great shout out to them. Also, shout out to Craig Bovas. Again, I've worked with him quite a bit, and I feel a little remorse because he's leaving, but I guess it was time for him to go. So great job by him, and whenever I called him, he was there, so spot on. So very, very happy with that. And again, as Bill and Joey and Chris have all mentioned here, we've updated a lot of our parks here, Schlatt House, Mars, Castle Point, and again, that does bring people together, and that's something I think we need to do. Again, the boat ramps, the kayak ramps. It's not as Bill said, not a political thing. It's to bring everybody together, and I think that's the most important thing here. Making improvements, quality of life for residents, that's what we're about here on the board. So I thank my fellow board members for your support. Thank you.
Thank you for your support of these initiatives as well.
One last thing, I just want to get a plug in for the Friends of Grinnell event.
Yes, the gala.
Denny gave me a nice note here. Make sure you mention this. So September 13th, Friends of Grinnell Library. It's the gala, the annual gala. It's a great event. I know that most of us, if not all of us, have supported this event year in and year out. We firmly believe in the value of Grinnell Library and the history of Grinnell Library. So if you're available to attend that event, or even if you're available to sponsor it, contact the Friends of Grinnell Library for details, or you can see me after the meeting, and I'll be happy to share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, with no further business to come before the town board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.